Jesse Bam Rodriguez. What do you have to say about him? I know you. I'm not okay. Like I said, I'm a kind of a casual. You know more about this, but he was Gilbert. Teofimo Lopez fought over the weekend, and there was more about Bam on my timeline than there was about Teofimo. Obviously, Teofimo won, but Bam's hard shot to the body, I think in the 6th round, was very interesting. But Gilbert, what do you make of him? Is he the next rising star? Because boxing needs these guys. They need some rising stars. Is Bam Rodriguez a rising star? Thank you to Victor Producer for that one.
Yeah, well, first of all, Teofimo Lopez fought a nobody, so he does not deserve attention. I like Teofimo Lopez. He's been good to me for interviews, but fight somebody, please, with a post. But I wanted to give a couple, minutes here for Jesse Bam Rodriguez because he is becoming a boxing star. The only problem with him, he fights at super flyweight, and nobody really cares about super flyweight. It kind of reminds me when Chocolatito Gonzalez became the pound for pound best after the Floyd Mayweather era. Yeah, people cared, but they didn't really care. And then Chocolatito was paired with Triple G's cards. He was a co-main event with Triple G to kind of give him some pop there. So maybe Jesse Bam Rodriguez could kind of do that, where maybe he fights on a Canelo undercard and becomes a co-main event. He has to do that because he's a smaller profile fighter, but he's an exciting fighter. The way he fought against Juan Francisco Estrada, who's the thing about Jesse Bam Rodriguez, funny because when Chocolatito was in his dominant era, all the guys that he beat, Jesse's beating them now. I'm like, those guys are still fighting, like Soren Visay, and obviously the one who just beat Gallo Estrada. I'm like, these guys have been fighting for a long time. So I guess when you're a flyweight or a smaller guy, you get to fight a little longer. But he needs to fight new stars. He needs to build up intrigue, marinate fights. And the one that we're not hearing about is Inoue, the Japanese monster. The only issue with that, hey, and I love Jesse Bam Rodriguez for saying this. He called it a fantasy fight. He's like, yeah, that's a good fight. We all want to pair Inoue and Bam because they are smaller guys who need opponents. But he said it's a fantasy fight because he's 2 weight classes above. I'm not going to go risk that when he's 2 weight classes above. These casuals don't understand weight classes. Obviously, Bam does. So I like that he said that. But who knows? You'll give him some time. He goes up to junior featherweight, eventually gets to featherweight. But, and now he's not a big dude in general, so he might not go anywhere anytime soon. So eventually that fight comes to fruition. But you don't want to wait too long where it's like 3-4 years. You don't care. Somebody loses or whatever. But the thing is, I just want to give Jesse Bam Rodriguez his credit. Yeah, he might not have the opponents, the star power, stuff like that. But when it comes to the best pound-for-pound fighter, when I watched that fight, he passed the eye test, and that's what pretty much pound for pound is an eye test. You can't fight everybody because they're all in different weight classes. But, I do understand that he got dropped by Gallo Estrada, who's a tough mother effer from Mexico. But, he dropped him multiple times before that, and then he got caught, and then he came back, got off the canvas, and then dropped him with a nasty body shot. So that, to me, is an entertaining fighter, tough competitor who has a lot of in his arsenal. So, hey, just want to spend a couple of minutes to give Jesse Bam Rodriguez his credit, and he's definitely now in the top 10 pound for pound. He wasn't on a lot of people's list already, but for me, he probably cracks the top 7 now. After, I had Terrence Crawford, Usyk, Gervonta Tank Davis, Bibble, B2B, Canelo 6. So 7 sounds about right for me.
Interesting. I'm interested to see now what now I'm going to keep a close eye on this guy. By the way, Gilbert is angry at the boxing casuals, Dana White is angry at the UFC casuals, and I am angry at the WWE casuals. So there you go. All 3 of us are angry at somebody.